The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. That might not only be the greatest line in all of Star Trek, but I think it might be the greatest line in all of sci-fi. I'm Patrick, this is Hear Us Out, and I'm going to tell you how to convince your friends that sci-fi and space stuff is pretty damn cool. Alright, so what I'm going to do here is, for all you people who have friends that just say, oh, I don't like space movies, here's an easy way to get them into it. They'll all have heard of Star Trek and they'll be like, oh, I don't know, spacey stuff. But they'll be in some way softened because it's so very common and been around for so long with so many TV series. But I would say the best of their movies, which is Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan, also has the best scene in all of Star Trek. Fight me in the comments. That's what we're here for. I know a lot of people prefer the actual abandoning and self-destruction of the Enterprise at the to get rid of Khan, etc. But I actually think Spock's sacrifice is the greatest scene in Star Trek, and here's why. You can convince people that space stuff is really just about emotions and reality, because you've got, even if they haven't watched all the other movies, you've got a movie there where all you really need to know at that point is they've been in a kerfuffle with a guy called Khan, and all hope is lost. The Enterprise is doomed. Things are going to go bad unless somebody does something crazy. And it's the most logical person in the world that does something crazy. Spock goes into the radiation chamber to save the ship, knowing that he's not coming out. Now, that's high stakes stuff. The reason it's such a big deal is because a lot of people talk about the trio in Star Trek. It's DeForest Kelley, Bones, the Doctor. It's Leonard, Nimoy, Spock, and it's Kirk, everybody knows, William Shatner. But the Kirk-Shatner relationship being built around the idea of Spock and the Vulcans being logical, and Kirk being this just raw, emotional cad who's out there flying by the seat of his pants. Their mistrust and their relationship is what Star Trek is built on in a lot of ways. And it gets to this point where, make no mistake, folks, you got to strap in. Spock is facing certain death. And he chooses that because he chooses, as he puts it, that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. And in that case, he is the one. Everybody else is more important than him. He can save them. He's not coerced into doing this. It's his logic. It's his selfishness or selflessness. Freudian slip. It's his selflessness and his heroism that gets him there. And that's when Kirk shows up, because he knows that somebody has saved them. And then he's told who it is. And he realizes the situation. And they have a moment.
The needs of the many outweigh
the needs of the few.
Or the one.
Have a moment. And this is where you show your friend and say, these are two people that for the entirety of all of this story have had an uneasy relationship that turned into an uneasy friendship that turned into the most vital friendship in either of their existences. They taught each other about the opposite side of what their nature or their nurturing told them to have. And you take these opposites who've now gone through all that, and their final moments are spent expressing and God knows, men aren't great at expressing themselves and expressing love and open, honest emotions at the best of time now. But years ago when this was made, men were even more tight-lipped and, fist on table, carry on stuff. You've got two friends here. You've got two colleagues here. You've got two people who are in a loving relationship, and one is watching the other die. And Spock straightens himself up to go and talk to his friend Kirk. He wants James T. Kirk to not feel so bad, but he also has to share moments of levity. He asks, how do you like my solution? I never took the Kobayashi Maru. He's all you have to tell your friends is this is two people having a moment at one of their end after such a long history. And you can see at that point, you don't have to tell them anything, because you can see in the performances and in the dialogue that it is crushing them both, but they're both trying to do their best for each other in how they behave. And to the end, Kirk is showing more emotion, Spock is showing more logic. And that the needs of the many really is how Spock lived out his life at that point. Their performances are amazing. The dialogue is amazing, but I think the part that really breaks people is the quote. It's where through glass. This, you'll have seen this in popular culture. Ooh, I'll do it properly. This is the Vulcan kind of, hello sign. It's a whole thing. But it's very important that the idea of touch is also associated with Vulcans, and they can do all sorts of cool things, not just nerve pinches to knock people out, but they can do some mind reading and mind transference. It's rarely used, and it's quite the spiritual thing. But to have them raise their hands and be separated by this glass barrier of the radiation chamber, and for Spock to finally say, I have been, and I shall always be your friend, from this cold, green-blooded, logical Vulcan, half human.
I have been, and always shall be, your friend.
That hits. And that hits for every sci-fi fan. But I think, and I've tried this with people who, I've never watched Star Trek, I will not watch space stuff. They watch that scene and they get it. And they're like, okay, so you can get to this depth of emotion in a pew spaceshipy show or movie or series of movies. Yeah. It's the same way people who are like, oh, animation, I'm not sure if I get it. Then they cry at the opening of Up, because digital animation doesn't do anything for me. Yeah, watch the opening 8 minutes or whatever it is of Up and see if you still feel that there isn't an emotional connection with digital pixels. If anybody out there thinks at this point that I'm wrong and that this isn't maybe the best scene in all of sci-fi as far as just emotion, character, philosophy, stakes, it's everything, let me know. And I would love to hear what you think is better. While you're at it, give us a like and a subscribe and a share if you want. But seriously, let me know if you think there's something out there that's better, be that in the Star Trek universe or anywhere else in sci-fi. Or if you have another magic scene. I know a lot of people mention Firefly or something like that as a way to get people into sci-fi because it's so much fun and it is so brilliant on so many levels. But honestly, if you could only show one scene to try and change somebody's mind, is there a better one than this? I don't know, but I do know that my name is Patrick. This is Here's Out. Paul is still on assignment. We will be back with you very, very soon. Take care. I have been and always shall be your YouTuber. Bye.